Hey everybody, Ellen here from O'Reilly Auto Parts to show you how to remove and replace the front brake pads and rotors on a 2013 Chevy Cruze. Procedures will be similar for most Cruze models from 2011 to 2015, but be sure to know the specifics of your vehicle before getting started. Now, once you've got your supplies together, here's what you'll do. Park on a level surface. Chalk the rear wheels. Remove the wheel covers if equipped, and use a lug wrench or breaker bar and 19mm socket to loosen the lug nuts on the front wheels. Use a jack and jack stands to lift and support the front end of the vehicle. Remove the lug nuts and front wheels. If needed, turning the steering wheel can provide better access. Use a 10mm socket and ratchet to loosen and remove the two caliper bolts. Slide the caliper off the rotor. Use a large flathead screwdriver to compress the piston slightly if you have trouble getting the caliper off. Hang the caliper somewhere out of the way, making sure there is no pressure on the brake line. Remove the old brake pads from the caliper bracket. Use an 18mm socket to loosen the caliper bracket bolts and remove the caliper bracket. Turn the wheel straight again. Then use a T30 bit to remove the screw securing the rotor. And remove the rotor. You can tap the rotor with a hammer if needed to remove it, but only use a hammer if you're replacing the rotor. Use a wire brush to remove any rust from the studs or the face of the hub. Apply some silicone grease to the face of the hub to keep the new rotor from seizing to the hub. Use brake cleaner and a shop towel or rag to remove oil from the friction surfaces of your new rotor. Anytime you use brake cleaner, remember that it will strip paint, so be very careful where you spray it. If you're planning to reuse your old rotors, it's a good idea to at least have them resurfaced. Most O'Reilly Auto Parts locations offer brake, rotor, and drum resurfacing for a fee, and will measure your rotor thickness before resurfacing to ensure they can be safely reused. If the rotor can't be resurfaced, our parts professionals can also help you find the best replacement rotors to get the job done right. Install the rotor, making sure you line up the opening for the T30 screw and reinstall the screw. Now remove the old hardware from your caliper bracket. Use a flathead screwdriver if needed. Give the bracket a visual inspection. If the bracket is extremely rusty where the pads or hardware will sit, it needs to be replaced. Spray the bracket down with brake cleaner, but don't use a wire brush to clean it. This can lead to further corrosion. Remove the slide pins and visually inspect them. If they're corroded or pitted, they also need to be replaced. Wipe down the slide pins using brake cleaner and a shop towel or a rag to remove old grease. And apply some fresh silicone grease. Reinstall the pins and make sure they glide smoothly. Now apply silicone grease to the notches on the bracket where your new brake hardware will sit. And install the new hardware. Move the caliper bracket back into place and thread the bolts. Then use your 18mm socket and ratchet to tighten them. Once they're snug, use your torque wrench to tighten those bolts to 74 foot-pounds on a first pass, then turn the bolts another 60 to 75 degrees. Apply silicone grease to the notches on the hardware where the pads will sit and the back of your new brake pads. Install your new brake pads in the caliper bracket, putting the pad with the wear indicator on the inside. Now clean the exposed portion of your caliper piston with brake cleaner on a towel or rag. If the rubber boot is cracked or if there's brake fluid leaking, the caliper needs to be replaced. Attach your bleeder tool and open the bleeder valve with a wrench by turning it counterclockwise. Using an old brake pad to protect the piston, compress the brake caliper with a caliper compressor tool. When you're done, the piston should be flush with the housing. Tighten the bleeder valve, then detach the bleeder tool. Now slide your caliper into place over the brake pads. Once the caliper is in place, thread the bolts and tighten them using your 10mm socket and ratchet. Torque those bolts to 21 foot-pounds. Reinstall the wheel and tighten the lug nuts until the wheel is secure against the rotor. It's always a good idea to change brake pads and rotors in pairs, so repeat these steps on the other side. Lower the front end and remove the wheel chocks. Use your 19mm socket and torque wrench to tighten the lug nuts in a star pattern to 100 foot-pounds. Once the job is complete, before you drive anywhere, be sure to pump your brake pedal several times until you feel that pressure return. Some brake fluid was pushed out when you compressed your caliper pistons, so check your master cylinder and add fluid as needed. If your brake pedal feels spongy, it's likely that you have air in one or both of your front brake lines. Here's a link to a video on how to bleed those lines to remove the air if needed. To help break in the new components, it's a good idea to test drive your vehicle, slowing it 30 times from 30 miles per hour with moderate brake pressure, allowing the brakes to cool for about 30 seconds in between each slowdown. Try to avoid aggressive stops during this break-in process. Your brakes will probably smell after you've done this, and that's okay. If the odor persists past 500 miles or so, or if you have excessive dust on a wheel, you may have a stuck caliper. And that's it. You'll find everything you need for this and other jobs at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or O'ReillyAuto.com. If you are not completely comfortable doing this yourself, we would be happy to recommend a professional shop or certified auto repair service center in your area. And be sure to subscribe so you'll see all of our new video content. And we'll see you again soon.